All right, welcome back. This is M Live. A very good morning to you. If you're just joining us, like Arnold Maliba, a very good morning. Karibu sana. Thank you for joining us on this panel. And we are conversing around what is suddenly and has gripped the entire country, at least for the next 14 days. And all eyes will be on the Supreme Court as it begins, the hearing of the presidential petition filed yesterday. We have about 9 petitions that were filed, Arnold, and, we have a 72-page petition by the Azimio One Kenya coalition. Well, I also want to get your initial thoughts on where we are and the developments so far, and maybe just give us for someone who's just sitting there and they don't understand why these 14 days are quite crucial. Where do we begin from here until the 14th day when the ruling is made?
Actually, this particular petition is a petition that can change the fate of the nation and the society generally as we know it. But I have had an opportunity to get all the documentation. It's about 1,000 pages of all the petitions, the initial documents, but all of them on soft. So I've not really done a thorough perusing, but I've looked at a few that are very interesting, especially one by Okiya Mtata and one by Azimio, because those two are quite quantitative. They are chasing a target you can actually see. The others are a little bit qualitative about processes, spirits, everything else. Of course, normally it's just the spirit of the law and the letter. But since there are many, I should be allowed to actually say spirits and everything else. So we have got 14 days in which, of course, on the lighter level, of course, is for, I want to call it a national law symposium. All of us will be seated with our dictionaries to listen to both English and Latin.
Amicus curiae.
So there's going to be some serious English and some introduction to Latin.
Right.
Yeah, but also for us to get an opportunity to look at law as is. A lot of Article 138 will be heard, a lot of Article 140. Elections Act, specifically Article 39, will be talked about repeatedly. And then, of course, an attempt at Article 80 of the Elections Act. I'll later on actually just speak to that. But by and large, from where I sit now, away from the legal thinking, I think that by the time you get to court, you have lost. Because no one goes to an election to end up in a court. Everybody loves a decisive win. In battle, you need a complete and full victory. Here we are trying to salvage a situation that already has actually gone off the rigs. But over and above, this particular election speaks to one thing, the importance of a single vote.
Right.
That every single vote actually counts. Right. That between these two people is actually 233,000 votes. That's the difference. Out of the 14 million of us that voted, over 14 million of us who voted, the difference is actually just 233,000 votes. And therefore, every particular vote counts. Anyone out there who still thinks that their vote doesn't count, that if you showed up and voted, that it's not so much, that it's just a drop in the ocean, if you look at this particular situation and petition, then you know that your vote is very, very important. So whether William Ruto, who is the president-elect, ends up being confirmed and then sworn in, or whether we go back to an election and probably Raila Odinga comes in, is because of very few votes, probably just 2 constituencies. True. And that's all. Yeah.
All right. We spoke a little bit earlier on, perhaps 9 petitions within such a short timeline is quite, a tall order for the Supreme Court. Is there likelihood there's going to be a consolidation of those petitions? And if so, are there certain general rules and principles when it comes to that?
First of all, Article 140 of the Constitution allows anybody in the Republic to go to court after the presidential election within 7 days. If you have got issues and you've got questions, anybody, by the way, you do not necessarily need to be the candidate, the party, or even an interested party, directly interested party. You could just be a Kenyan who feels like this election did to go well, so you can go to court. So
I think there's actually a petition from a voter as well.
Yes. Yeah. So for the 9 of them, all of them are tackling different issues. Some of them are actually similar.
Right.
So as a rule, of course, for all cases, especially that pertains to a single matter, the one thing we are going to see in the next 48 hours will be an attempt at consolidation of all those cases so that they can actually deal with them as they be heard as one let me call it humongous case, or rather an omnibus case, where all of the others then fall in. So that bit we are going to see. The second bit is that there are a lot of issues to look at. But 14 days, like you said, is actually short. And 140 again, 140 Article 140 again just gives the Supreme Court two options to find that the elections were done, whether they were done transparently, and all those other words that we normally repeat, and either uphold or nullify. But then there is also the citation of Article 80 of the Elections Act, where there has been there was rumor, and since I've not looked at the substance of all the petitions, that then a petitioner will try and ask the court to declare the other candidate a winner, because in Article 8 of the Elections Act it talks about any court of law can declare anyone a winner if there is that particular month. But then now, if you look at the hierarchy of authorities, the Constitution is higher. So then the Elections Act somehow will have to be subject to the Article 140. So there's that particular bit, of course. So we are going to see a number of interesting things. But then the most, for me, the most intriguing part of it is that the Constitution was, the architecture of the IEBC, of the Commission, is such that it has to act as one. Right. But for the first time, we see commissioners on the other side. Right. That brings to question the I on IEBC, because literally they should be independent. So when this independence bit of it is actually silent and they are joining others, now here the referee is part of the referee, the hand of the referee is siding on the other side, the whistle is siding with the other person. It's going to be, that is one of those questions that we actually hope that the court will actually settle on. Also, they could actually take us the Mutunga way, look at the case and everything else with all the canters and the lorries that have taken the evidence. They don't have the time to look at that. Right. That's why I was actually thinking about the guys who are chasing the quantitative case. Could be easier if you want a retelling and everything else that can be worked on. The qualitative bit of it, they can deal with us the way Mutunga dealt with us in 2013. Just come read up a one-pager and say, we either uphold or nullify. We will give reasons later on. Right. By looking at, quickly looking at the weight of the evidence, they have all the direction. But as is, this is a petition that really holds the heart of the nation with it. Yeah. Okay.